Two gun belts sitting side by side on my bench. Same width, same double-layer nylon, same exact job, which is to hold a loaded holster on your hip all day without sagging. One of them costs about $50. It's made here in the States, and it's backed for life. The other one runs $140. It has the word assault stamped on the buckle, and the warranty runs out long before you stop feeling dumb about the price. Same belt, so that extra $90 did not buy you a better belt. It bought you a bigger label. And that gap right there is the whole game. Once a belt is stiff enough to hold the gun, and that's a low bar, the belt is basically a solved problem. It's nylon and a good buckle, or it's thick leather and a stiffener, and that's the whole thing. Every dollar past that floor is going somewhere, and it is almost never going into the belt. It goes into a magnet, a ratchet mechanism you got talked into, a rented tactical name, a logo printed on a strip of elastic, and almost nobody catches it because the belt is the one piece of the whole setup you buy last and cheapest. People will spend $600 on the pistol, $120 on the holster, and then grab whatever's hanging by the register, which is backwards, because the belt is the platform the other two ride on. I did exactly that for years, right up until the morning I stood out of a car seat and felt my holster roll off my hip because the belt had folded in half. So I've bought the dumb ones, so you don't have to, and I'm going to show you how to read where your money actually lands. 6 belt brands robbing you blind, 6 worth every penny, and 1 worth it pick that costs less than your holster and outlasts every leather belt on this list. I'm making you wait for that one. We start with the robbers. Number 6, Ridge, and yes, the wallet people make a belt now. You know Ridge from that little machined slab of metal everybody's brother-in-law bought a few years back, and the belt is built to match it. Clean strap, machined buckle, colors that pair with the wallet, and it genuinely looks good. But it's a fashion accessory priced at $50 to $75, and that money is going to the logo, not to anything that helps you carry. The strap has stretch built into it, which is lovely for holding your pants up and exactly wrong for holding a holster steady. Ridge also quietly walked away from the Horween leather they used to brag about, so even the leather version dropped down to a plainer hide with the same name stamped on it. I've watched guys get so annoyed at the price that they built the same elastic and buckle setup out of an old belt and a hardware store bolt for about $4. And honestly, they had a point. Buy the Ridge if you want a nice dress belt. Just don't try to carry a gun on it. Number 5. Another ratcheting belt, and this time the ripoff is hiding in the fine print. Nexbelt. Nexbelt makes the same kind of hidden track ratchet as everybody else. No holes, micro-adjust on the fly, and their carry belts run around $75, which is a few bucks more than the more famous ratchet brands. 2 problems with that price. 1. Retailers love to call it a lifetime belt, but read Nexbelt's own warranty, and it's a limited warranty against defects, which is not the no-questions lifetime guarantee you get from an American nylon belt at the same money or less. And 2, the nylon carry belts are imported, whatever the leather lines made in America marketing might lead you to assume. It's a perfectly functional belt, you're just paying a premium for the precise fit branding, and a warranty that sounds a lot bigger than it actually reads. Number 4 isn't a brand at all. It's a word, stamped on the back of 1,000 different belts. Genuine leather. It sounds premium. It's actually the cheapest grade of leather there is. Ground up scraps pressed and glued into a sheet. Basically leather-flavored particle board. It shows up on all those tactical-sounding online listings with the words gun belt right in the title. $40, free shipping, and you're paying a real price for the leftovers. It cracks and folds right at the bend where your gun sits, usually inside a year, which is also why you never see these things hold any resale value. I bought one from a department store before I knew better and watched it separate like a bad grilled cheese around month 10. There's a 5-second check that saves you every time. Hold any belt straight out by one end. A real carry belt stays close to level. This stuff flops over like a wet noodle, which is exactly what it does under a holster on your hip. And to be clear, cheap leather is not the enemy here. A thick, single-layer, full-grain belt for $20, the plain kind a rancher wears, will carry a full-size gun for years and never complain. The tell is the stamp. Full grain or top grain, that's the real thing. Genuine leather or bonded leather, that's the scrap, and it's robbing you slow. Number 3. Core Essentials, the ratcheting belt half the internet recommends by default. Now this one is going to annoy some of you, because you own one and you like it, and fair enough, it earns part of that. Core's belt uses that hidden track instead of holes, so you get about 40 tiny adjustment points instead of 5. And for appendix carry it is genuinely handy. Click it looser when you sit down after a big meal, tighter when you stand, no hunting for the right hole. That part is real, and I won't pretend otherwise. But look where the money goes. A core belt and buckle runs around $60, which is full gun belt money, and it's made in China with a 1-year warranty. 1 year. Hang on to that number, because in a few minutes I'm going to show you an American belt at that same $60 backed for life, and another one backed for 100 years. You're paying a premium for the ratchet and the marketing, and the warranty is where you quietly eat the difference. This is the belt a lot of carriers buy first, and then quietly upgrade away from a couple years in. If it's the ratchet you actually love, a company called Mission makes basically the same belt without pricing it up just for saying the word carry. Core works fine. You're just overpaying for a mechanism and financing it with the guarantee you gave up. Number 2 made me laugh out loud when I priced it out. 511 sells a belt called the Maverick Assaulter for $130 to $145. Real Cobra quick-release buckle, the good Austrian one. A big beefy D-ring on the front for rappelling out of a helicopter, or whatever the fantasy is that day. And it's a genuinely good belt. That is not the problem. The problem is that 511 also sells a belt called the Trainer, $30, that holds a concealed pistol on your hip just fine and gets recommended all day long as one of the best value belts going. Same company, same building. So the Maverick is charging you $100 extra over their own budget belt for the word assault, a rappelling ring you will never once touch, and an inch of extra width that most concealed carriers actively don't want. And that identical Austrian buckle? It sits on a belt from a company called Klik for $89. And hold that thought, because Klik shows up again later on the good half of this list. You are paying a $100 surcharge to wear the word assault on your waistband into the office. Which brings me to the worst one on the list. Number 1, and it's the best looking one in the box. The Groove Belt, from Groove Life, the silicone ring people. It's a strip of stretchy elastic with a slick aluminum buckle that snaps shut on a magnet, and it runs around $45, $50. That is not cheap. And what that money buys you is a magnet and a marketing pitch. They slap a 94-year warranty on it, which sounds incredible, right up until you notice they're guaranteeing a belt that can't do the one job. They'll tell you all about their stiff technology and swear they tested it holding a full-size 1911. Put an actual loaded holster on it, and the thing folds. The gun drags the elastic, the holster rolls away from your body, and you print like there's a brick taped to your hip. And if you run a claw or a wing on your holster, that little wedge that tucks the grip into your side, it only works when the belt is stiff enough to push against. On this one, it does nothing, so you paid extra for the accessory, and the belt cancels it out. One reviewer who bought his own and owed nobody a favor flat out called it the worst belt he'd ever carried. It's a great looking belt for brunch, just keep a firearm well away from it. So that's the whole pattern in the first half. The money went to a label, a magnet, a mechanism, or a rappelling ring you'll never use, and almost none of it went into the actual belt. The good ones flipped that completely, and they're almost boring about it. They take your $60 or $80 and pour all of it into the belt, the buckle, and a warranty that outlives you. And you can feel it the first morning you strap one on. Quick thing before the good ones. If you've ever bought the gun first and the belt dead last, which is most of us, do me a favor and subscribe, because I do one of these every week on the gear that actually matters and the brand's banking on you not checking. And one belt that just missed this list, since somebody will ask, Aries Gear builds a superb American nylon belt, if you can stomach their famous backorder. Alright, 6 belts worth every penny, counting up to the one I keep teasing. Number 6 is the most boring belt I own, and I mean that as the highest compliment. Wilderness Tactical. They've been making their instructor belt in Arizona for decades, and it looks like nothing. Nylon webbing, a plain steel V-ring buckle, no logo shouting at anyone. $65, and what you get for it is choice. A softer 3-stitch, a stiffer 5-stitch, or a shooter's model with a real polymer stiffener sewn inside, so you match the belt to how much gun you carry instead of buying whatever's on the peg. They'll sell it to you in a slim 1.5" for daily concealment or a wider 1.75" if you run a heavier rig. And a little give is actually your friend for appendix carry, because a rigid plank digs into your gut every time you bend, and this one flexes with you. They even make a version with 0 metal in it, the frequent flyer, so you walk through the airport detector without unthreading your whole waistline. American-made, buy it once, and it costs less than that 511 Maverick. It just quietly does the job. Number 5 is a leather belt a firearms company built, and they didn't gouge you for it. Magpul Tejas. It runs about $70, made in Texas out of North American bullhide, and the part that matters is underneath the leather. There's a flexible, reinforced polymer layer in there, an actual engineered stiffener, not just a thick strap hoping to stay rigid. So it looks like a normal leather belt, the kind you wear with slacks to a nice dinner where nobody clocks the gun, and it carries like a purpose-built one. That is the real move with a concealment belt. It should read as a belt a normal guy wears, not like you're kitted up for a raid. They make it in a single ply for everyday wear, or a beefier two-ply if you want more spine under a full size. $70, American-made, real stiffener, no tacticool tax. This is the one I hand people who want leather but don't want to spend the money on the belt, coming up in a minute. Number 4. Remember that $89 belt I mentioned back on the 511 Maverick? Here it is, properly. Klik. Klik's two-ply belt runs the exact same Austrian Cobra quick-release buckle as the $145 Maverick, the real aircraft-grade aluminum one rated for thousands of pounds of pull, and it's hand-assembled in Colorado with a lifetime warranty. $89. Same buckle, none of the tacticool surcharge, and none of the D-ring cosplay. If you specifically want that satisfying Cobra click, the one where you squeeze 2 tabs and the whole belt pops open, on something stiff enough to run a full-size pistol all day, this is the honest way to buy it. It's the belt the Maverick wishes it was, minus $56. Number 3. Want one leather belt to hand down to your kid? Stop here. Hanks. The gunner is a single 14-ounce slab of American full-grain steer hide, thick as a floorboard, with a stainless roller buckle and screws instead of stitching so you can pull it apart and rebuild it. About $90, and it carries a 100-year warranty. You heard that right, 100 years, and you will be long gone before it cracks. A guy I know has worn his every single day for 2 years, and it's still dead flat, nothing but a few faint clip scratches, while the cheap belts he used to burn through died in about a year apiece. Now, the honest catch, because there's always one. This is a lot of belt. On a lean guy carrying a little subcompact, it can be overkill, almost too stiff, and it digs. One sizing note going in, Hanks tells you to order 2 inches up from your pant size for carry. But plenty of owners say 1 inch is plenty, or the buckle bottoms out. I watched a skinny buddy buy the heaviest reinforced belt he could find, and crank it down trying to make a tiny pistol behave, basically wearing a barrel hoop around his waist all day, when a thinner plain leather belt would have carried that gun just fine. Match the belt to the gun. If you carry a full size, or you're a bigger guy, or you just want the last leather belt you'll ever buy, the Hanks earns every dollar and then some. Number 2. Hunter Constantine. This is the belt the appendix carry crowd online will not shut up about, and after carrying one, I get it. Constantine built something genuinely different. The front half, where the gun rides, is stiff and reinforced. The back half is a flexible stretch section, so when you sit down or bend over, the belt moves with you instead of stabbing you in the kidney. It runs a hook system with 2 settings, 1 notch for when the gun's on, and 1 for when it isn't, and it'll go on with your pant loops or straight under gym shorts and joggers with no loops at all. Guys wear it through a brutal summer where a regular belt would leave them soaked and miserable, and it just disappears. It's not cheap, it sits up in the premium range, and I'll give you the honest trade, because that stretch is 1. A few carriers feel a hair of give on the draw that a rock-solid belt wouldn't have, and in stretchy pants you might print a touch more. But if comfort is the thing that's been quietly keeping you from carrying at all, and for a lot of people it honestly is, this is the belt that fixes it. The premium here is buying a genuinely different, American-made belt, and that's the whole difference between this and everything in the first half of the video. Number 1, and if you've been waiting for the cheap belt that embarrasses the expensive ones, here it is, Blue Alpha. Blue Alpha Gear builds their belts in the United States, and the one to start with is the hybrid. 2 layers of resin-stiffened nylon webbing sewn into a single belt, with a buckle small enough to thread through your normal pant loops. $45 to $55, backed by a no-questions lifetime warranty. $50. That is less than most decent holsters cost, and it's the belt the concealed carry internet reflexively tells you to just go buy and stop overthinking. A buddy of mine runs a full size on his everyday, and the thing genuinely vanishes under an untucked shirt. They also make a version with that exact Austrian Cobra buckle, the same one from the Klik and the 511 Maverick, for around $85, plus low profile and hook and loop versions if you want something even slimmer. Add the whole thing up. American-made, lifetime warranty, the good buckle available if you want it, starting at $50. There's no magnet, no D-ring, no ratchet you got upsold, so every single dollar landed in the belt. If I could keep only one belt off this entire list, I'd take this one and never think about a belt again. So here's how you never get robbed on a belt again, and it takes about 10 seconds in the store. Turn the belt over and check 3 things. The buckle. Is it a real quick release or an honest roller? Or is it a magnet and a gimmick? The origin, made here or made cheap and sold to you at a premium. And the warranty, measured in decades or measured in months. Everything you pay above a good buckle and a lifetime guarantee is buying you a label. If you want leather to hand down, it's the Hanks or a dual-layer bullhide belt from someone like the Beltman. If you want to spend $50 and be done for good, it's the Blue Alpha. The gun gets all the attention and all the money, and the belt is the thing actually holding it on your body all day long. So quit cheaping out on the one and quit overpaying the logo on the other. Drop it in the comments what belt is on you right now, and which brand on this list are you most surprised to see me call out. I read every one of them, and I'm always hunting the next brand to put on blast.